everybody, and welcome to our live stream. I am so excited about today's topic and about my awesome co-hosts. I'm Anya with Restream, and joining me today is Matt and Alex. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hello. All good on our end. Matt, how is the weather in Prague?
Hey everyone. The weather is changing. It was snow in the morning, and now was sunny, and then it started raining. So it's pretty much like in April.
The whole spectrum of things. A lot of things are changing today, so we are super excited to share what changed in Restream. But first, just for those people who are new in our chat, just a quick introduction. I'm Anya. I'm Director of Product Marketing here, so a lot of things that you see in terms of our launches and marketing materials are something that I work on. And today with me is Alex, who is our head of product. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, of course. I am Alex, and I'm responsible for the Restream product. All your ideas, features, and the feedback, something I always check, and really thankful for that because it helps us to grow our product and improve it every day. Thanks everyone for that. And if you have any new ideas, just visit ideas Restream.io and publish, and we will build it for you.
In no time, very quickly. Which brings us to the point of Matt. What's your mission at Restream?
Hey guys, so my name is Matt. I also work in product. I would say my mission is to build those things that you wish for. Specifically, with my team, we work on channels and encoder streaming, file management, and upload and stream, all sorts of things. So if you have any particular requests, I'll be sure to read them and help you get them at some point.
That's awesome. So today we're talking about dual format streaming, which means going live in horizontal and vertical mode at the same time on different channels. So if you're watching us at whatever channel you're watching us, let us know where you're watching us from. That could be geographical location or the platform. We actually can see it from your comments, but I'm curious if you're watching us in horizontal or vertical orientation, because we are live in both on many, many channels, including actually Restream YouTube, where we're live in both. We are also live in vertical on Restream's Instagram. So let us know if you can see us there, and horizontally on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and X. So let us know what you guys are seeing. And quick housekeeping too. We are proactively growing our YouTube channel. So if you're not a subscriber yet, be sure to click that subscribe button and give us a little sub. That also allows you to see every time we go live. So we will notify you with all the cool updates, such as this one, in a timely manner. So there are lots of benefits of that. Let's jump into our chat. Let's see if there are any comments that we can already highlight and welcome our viewers. So we will pass it on to our co-producers to show up a few things. I see some comments already. That's actually pretty cool. The chat is checking in. Hey from Amari from Facebook. Good to see you. I'm assuming you're watching us on in horizontal because that's the only way we're there. Hello from San Francisco, says LinkedIn user. This is a setting that you need to check in LinkedIn that we will definitely cover in the nearest time. There's some privacy thing that you need to show us your name. Max says, let's go 3 fires. Fire. That's awesome. Love it. Romario is checking in, I think from London. Romario is also on our product team, so it's good to see you, man. Thanks for the hearts. Let's see if we have anyone else. Whoa. Danger zone. Anya, fantastic. I love that. I was a little self-conscious about this like short that's like missing a sleeve. It's like, I don't know if this is too much, but thanks for the compliments. It made my day. Thank you. Looking great, says Quilly Memory from YouTube. And that's a cute squirrel. That's my spirit animal, by the way. I absolutely love squirrels. Alrighty, what else? Let's go Team Sales. Michael, so excited about this update. Yeah, this is a really big one. We've been receiving a lot of feedback and requests from our creators to make this happen. So we're very, very excited to bring it to you. We will cover all the ways how you can go live in vertical and horizontal today using different setups. So stay tuned for that. Let's see, do we have any more? Here we go. TV. That's a vertical and horizontal. I love that. TV and mobile. This is lovely. But yes, that's basically the idea. Bringing your streams on all screens and all types of viewer experiences. Wow, I love Restream, says Jokis1. Awesome. Love it. Do we have any more? Let's see. David from Kenya is saying hello. That's lovely. I love it. I love it. Hi from Bulgaria from Max. Any more countries? Because we have 3 countries here, right? Like I'm in the United States, in Austin, Texas. Alex, you are in
Portugal.
And we already covered the weather in Prague, so we can safely assume
that would be the Prague in Czech Republic. I know there's a little town called Prague also in the United States, but that's not the one. So
is there Lisbon in the United States? There should be, right?
I think so. There's like everything.
There should be. Like every capital should be. I'm going to look up Lisbon, United States. And if you're from there, check in the chat. I would like to meet you. Hello from Florida. Love it. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our main topic today. So it is dual streaming, also known as portrait and landscape, also known as dual output, also known as horizontal and vertical streaming at the same time. Let us know in the chat which term do you prefer. We cannot promise that we'll stick to it because we've been calling it in 100 different ways internally. But I'll be curious to know, like, how do you typically refer to that? But the idea is pretty simple, right? Your stream can go in horizontal orientation on certain channels, and it can be vertical or mobile first, mobile friendly on others. And this is now possible from Restream within the same stream, within the same basically output. And once you go through Restream, we send those streams, those feeds to different channels depending on what orientation you chose. There are a few major benefits why you would want to do this. So we put together probably the most mission critical ones that I feel are the most important, but feel free to chime in the chat and share what other reasons you see to use dual output or dual streaming. So first of all, it's vertical feeds, right? A lot of platforms right now are going mobile first, and they are creating opportunities for discoverability for creators in vertical mobile first feeds. So if your stream is already vertical, you are more likely to get pushed in those feeds, which means you might discover new audiences, new fans, and new viewers. The second important thing is that the right format creates better viewer experience. If you're watching this stream on a big TV on YouTube, you probably want it to be horizontal, right? Because that's how your TV is set up, and that's the best experience for you watching from your living room. If you are on the go and watching the stream on your mobile phone, of course, vertical experience is much better because it's optimized for your screen and it gives you the proper layout and like just better way to follow along with what we are showing here. So better viewer experience means that people will stay longer. Not everyone wants to see cropped stream if they're watching it on their mobile, or very strange vertical with a bunch of black bars if they're watching on big screen or just like a wide monitor. So better viewer experience means people stay longer. People stay longer means that your channel is growing, your audience is growing, potentially you're monetizing better, and all these other good things across all platforms. True for anything, YouTube, X, LinkedIn, or any other social platform that you might be multi-streaming to. And of course, once set up, no extra work. It was possible to go live on both channels at the same time using multiple different setups, multiple different instances, multiple different phones and computers. Now you do not need any of those things. It's one setup, one stream, and then it automatically adjusts to different vertical feeds and different orientations. If you know of any other value adds, let us know in the chat. But the next thing that we would want you to know is that there are 2 different ways and 2 different setups that you could use in order to stream vertically and horizontally with Restream. One method is going to be through OBS. So if you're using OBS software, you can use Restream free plugin in order to create this dual output or dual orientation. The other method is through Restream Studio, and we're going to cover both of them today, and we will start with OBS. And we have a quick tutorial guide made by our very own Charles, so we'll let him take it away.
Go live vertically and horizontally, giving every subscriber the perfect view of you with Restream's dual output. There are a few things that you need to be aware of before setting up a simultaneous vertical and horizontal live stream via OBS. You need the latest OBS software, Restream's latest vertical plugin, and to understand that you are running and uploading 2 separate streams, which takes more processing power and a sturdy internet connection. When everything is updated and OBS is opened, you should see a new dock, Restream Vertical. You can always find it under the docked menu. You'll need to make sure that your camera is in both the main and the vertical sources windows. And now you can set up your scenes as you need. For sound, the vertical stream always uses the main OBS audio mixer, so horizontal and vertical streams always have the same sound. Under Settings and Stream, ensure that the Service drop-down is set to Restream IO. Now, in the Channels widget, add and enable the channels that you want. Hit Edit and select Horizontal or Vertical. Now don't forget to save those changes. Under Stream Information, add your title and a description if you need, and then hit Update. When you're ready, start streaming. Now it's always a good idea to head over to Restream to check your streams. The homepage shows that you are live, so click to see the preview. Here you can see the stream health, the channels, including their aspect ratios, and of course, all of the chat. So there it is. For step-by-step instructions, check out the Help Center link down in the description or reach out to our 24-hour support. They really know their stuff. Cheers.
All right, that was a quick guide that we will be uploading. Oh, hi, Alex. We will be uploading it to YouTube today, so you will have a chance to come back to it and view it scene by scene, step by step if you need to. But probably the most important thing here would be to know how exactly to get this plugin. And I'm just going to show you real quick this place where you would be finding this information. So if you are logged into your Restream and you are on your Restream dashboard, simply go to your settings and then under encoder setup, because this method is ideal for encoders only, you will have an option to download your plugin for either Mac OS or Windows. This is where you can find it. It's completely free. Feel free to check it out. Let us know if there's anything that you need help with. Like Charles said, 24/7, real human support is there to help you out. So Matt was the lead product person on this feature. And before we take some questions from the chat, which I see are happening already as we go, yeah, Matt, would you like to add anything to this super exciting update?
Yeah, thanks, Anya. So first of all, it's very exciting to finally bring this to our customers. You know, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's absolutely essential that you meet your audience halfway, right? So if they're watching you on mobile, you finally can give them a proper aspect ratio on mobile or on landscape screens if they're watching you on desktops. So with the Restream Vertical plugin for OBS specifically, which does work on macOS or Windows, you can basically define the channels that will take the vertical scene and the channels that will take the landscape scene, right? So if you are familiar with OBS encoder and you know how to design a scene there, the Restream Vertical allows you to do that again in a separate vertical canvas. So ideally, you would want to use your camera just the way you use it in the landscape primary scene. You know, pull it up in the vertical view and adjust it proportionally. Second thing that is quite important is the audio mixer. So vertical streaming always takes the primary audio. So, you know, if you're using a microphone or you're playing some music into the mixer, make sure that it's basically in that feed, because it's going to be distributed with the same audio in both places. But then it's really channel by channel, so you can define which channel gets what. I would say the best way to do that, to set up your channels, is actually in the Restream app, not necessarily inside OBS. You can do that too. We have our widgets inside OBS, but using the Restream on the web has its benefits as well. So not only you have slightly better management of your channels, but you also see the stream monitor. So when you go live, you can basically monitor both the landscape and the portrait streams. Maybe if we go back to the video, I just want to zoom in on one frame, 1 second.
Go live vertically and horizontally.
I think it was somewhere here. So basically, this is what we call the encoder page inside Restream. This is where you would monitor the stream and set up your channels. And on the bottom, you can see the option to switch between horizontal or vertical preview. So the preview is live. This is the feed that you are sending from OBS. And not only can you monitor it, but you can also monitor the quality in the monitor. This is especially useful if you're running a slightly bigger production. So maybe you have one person running the OBS stream, but then other people kind of monitoring or managing your channels on the web using the Restream app. They can basically have all of the control there. And maybe we will talk about it separately, but I just want to call out that if you're talking to your audience just like we're talking right now, we obviously aggregate the chat from all the channels, whether they're vertical or horizontal. So if you're streaming in both orientations, the chat is always coming through, and you would see it also on this page, which is, I believe, quite handy. So you can react live and so on. So that's the OBS plugin that we have. As Anya mentioned, it's free. So download it, install it for OBS, and I think we can take some questions now.
Yes, absolutely. Just one more time real quick for those who are just joining us. This is where you find the download buttons. It is in your Restream dashboard, settings, and encoder setup. This method is ideal for OBS and encoders. We are going to talk about how to dual output or multi-stream in horizontal and vertical from Studio in just a minute. But this is what you do if you are an OBS person. Let's go ahead and take some questions because we have some really good ones here. I also, just quick heads up, I see a lot of questions about streaming simultaneously on the same YouTube channel in two different orientations. I see you guys. I see those questions. We do have a section for that in this live stream. We will show you a video guide just like the one before with Charles, walking you through the steps how to do this. It is absolutely possible. We do support that, and we will go through that and take those questions in just a few minutes. But before we get there, let's go ahead and see what other questions we have. I'm just going to pick them up for our. Oh, okay. This is interesting. For the let me do something else here. Right that. I'm just seeing myself in both vertical and horizontal, and I see that the chat, especially when it's long, kind of covering up things a little bit. So I'll be picking the questions for our co-producer, so I can actually select the ones that we want to cover first. I am in the US based, watching on YouTube. Do you guys have a way to aggregate chat across multiple platforms? So Matt just took that question, and the answer is yes, but I'll let you reiterate that point.
Yeah, exactly. We do. So both in this case from X and YouTube, you would see all the comments in Restream. And as Anya mentioned, we will talk specifically about YouTube and how you can send two orientations to YouTube. And even then, we would pull in the chat from both orientations. So stay tuned for that section.
Lovely question here. Again, it's primarily related to YouTube, but I would like to take it because it's a great question. How do you combine the chat for viewers? So there are a few tricks. I'll let you take this one first, Matt. What are your thoughts on that? And I'll add a few ideas, primarily for Studio, but definitely for OBS. What is the best way to let people see the chat?
I think in OBS you can obviously use our chat embed. So you can also pull up the chat messages as a separate box on the stream if you like. Or as Anya mentioned, in Studio, all of the messages are coming in. So just like we're doing right now, we're actually able to not only see the entire feed of the messages, but we can also pin some of the messages. So, we can call out the most relevant ones and then just with a click of a button, bring them on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. All right. A few more questions also on this topic. So there's another question from Facebook. This is actually one of the ways how you can unite your audience and show questions and comments from different channels. If you're using Studio, of course, you can basically highlight them like this. But the question is, does Restream have its own chat box now for all platforms? So most platforms do come in our aggregated multi-chat. There are certain platforms that do not basically take comments. Those platforms are TikTok and Instagram, and of course customer team piece. But most major channels will come into aggregated chat, just to make it clear here. Question about X. What about streaming directly on X without going to producer page on X? That is what we're doing right now. I don't know if there's any kind of like additional context here, or maybe you want to elaborate on your question, but to the best of my knowledge, we have pretty easy connection with X right now. So let us know what you mean exactly by that. But yeah, we're live on X right now, just directly with one toggle. Question here. I will take this because I think that makes sense. The question is, do we still have to use Atom vertical plugin in order to stream from OBS? And the answer is no. Actually, our own plugin is just an alternative and better version of it. I don't know, Matt. I know we talked about this a little bit. How is this better? And would you like to break it down a little bit?
I think I've pretty much summarized it. But essentially, the answer to the question is yes. You can just use Restream fully, and no, you don't need to use other plugins. So just install the Restream vertical plugin and send the feed to us. If you are using Restream, we deliver your content to 30 plus channels. So, the possibilities are pretty much endless there. And plus you get all the fancy stream monitoring that I just showed you in the web app that we have. So whether you want to monitor or you want to have another co-producer who's sort of managing your channels or just viewing the stream online, I would say, we kind of have the full platform for that.
Perfect. A follow-up question here that I actually do not know the answer for, but maybe you do. Is there a way to see bit rates for each output separately?
Yes, I believe there is. One second real quick. I'll double check on this. So yeah, you can set a separate bitrate for the vertical stream, but if you don't, it's going to pick up the bitrate of your primary stream in OBS.
Of your horizontal. Very cool. Awesome. That is very helpful. There is a question about, so very, very kind of like high level, simple. Can we stream on two channels at the same time? Yes, that's actually supported for free. You can choose two channels, one for horizontal, one for vertical, of course, or both horizontal or both verticals, however you want to do it. But on our paid plans, starting from standard and higher, you can reach up to 30 different platforms. So many, many channels, much more than two. This is really good. I am going to go ahead and can you guys change this to, this one. Can you guys change it to where and when you stream on Facebook, it's public instead of friends only? So yes, there is a way to do that. It's basically a Facebook setting. We're not going to show it right now because we don't have like a very, we don't have the materials for that right now, but we will definitely follow up with this question, especially if you comment on our Facebook stream. We can actually come back to it because the YouTube comments do tend to disappear after the end of the stream. It's kind of hard to find people on YouTube, but if you come back to our Facebook stream and make this comment, I will show you how to make this setting happen. A few nice comments here. That is a great feature. What happens if you need to record in two formats? Is this possible today? I love this one. Matt, what do you think?
It is possible. So with Restream, all of your streams are automatically recorded. So now that we have dual output, that's true for both orientations. So if you go live, it always depends on your channels, right? So if you have 5 channels, but you go landscape on all of them, obviously the recording will be just landscape. But if at least one of those channels is vertical, that means we ingest 2 types of orientations, 2 types of formats. And in that case, we record both. So you would end up with a cloud recording of both the vertical and the horizontal version of your stream.
Awesome. Love that.
And you can always find them in the storage, by the way. Yeah, forgot to mention that. So if you want to quickly download them, just go to the storage in your account and they'll be there.
Love this. Totally read that as Bad Bunny, but then realized it's a Boss Bunny. what is your recommendation for vertical setup in a game stream that is primarily landscape?
I would say, yeah,
Layouts,
it's
the layouts
tricky,
conversation.
but I would say if if you're a gamer, you're probably streaming with an encoder, and the customizations on the OBS scene are pretty flexible. So I've seen a bunch of vertical Twitch streams, for example, where people just crop out the game in a way, or actually they rather like have a landscape box of their game because that would be the aspect ratio of what they're playing, but then their face or the camera would be sort of like overlaid in a vertical position. Basically taking advantage of what the aspect ratio gives you, right? So in a nutshell, you can definitely use our Restream Vertical plugin for that. Just add any media source. So in OBS, as always, you have those media sources, and you can pull up any of those into the canvas of the vertical plugin, and then just play with it. See what works best for you.
Awesome. So there are a few questions on Studio that I will just hold off until we showcase how the Studio multiple dual output or dual format streaming is going to work. I'm just going to take this one real quick because it again comes back to like it would be nice to set up live streaming on X without having to go into producer page. You do not have to do that on Restream. You simply toggle X, you connect it once to your channels, and then you toggle it on because we have an API connection with them. So the streams go directly into X, and the chat comments are coming into our chat aggregator. So whatever you're doing, you don't have to do that on Restream. We definitely encourage you to check it out, and X is one of our free channels. So definitely pretty easy thing to test for yourself. Great question here on my favorite feature. One of my favorite features, Restream Pairs. Can you still pair channels while dual streaming? It's kind of like Matt and like it's both of our favorite questions, right? Or features. So the answer is yes, you can, but there are some limitations in terms of orientation. Right.
That's
Matt?
correct. Yes. So again, you can pair any amount of channels to any of your streams, and then typically for your primary channels, you can select the orientation. For paired channels, we don't have that yet. It's coming soon, but essentially all the paired channels would take the primary orientation, which is landscape. So just to reiterate, paired channels get the landscape orientation, but yes, you can pair channels even when you're streaming into output.
That's awesome. The question here is, do we have to use an OBS encoder? For this method, for free OBS plugin, yes. However, there is a way to multi-stream in horizontal and vertical or portrait and landscape within Studio, which is our next topic. So stay tuned for this one. Question from David here. How about scaling the video on vertical? Because for me, one second, sorry. I don't know what's happening, guys. Sorry, a little housekeeping. Every time I click on the chat message, it disappears. So if we're like unstarting them and disappearing them, please don't do that because I'm trying to read it in the chat box. Sorry for the little housekeeping thing, because it's a little harder for me to do that on the screen. But how about scaling the video on vertical? Because for me, I stream live show. So the host is on the slightly right position and the guest is slightly left. So how will that show on portrait? I use Restream Studio. Okay, so that's another Studio question. And we will show you how the orientation and layouts work perfectly and automatically within the Studio space in also just a second. Okay, so I think since we have a lot of different Studio questions, I think it would make sense for now to just transition to our next topic and show how the multiple streaming in two different orientations would work within Studio space. And then we can come back to some of those questions if they are still not answered. Please continue adding your questions to the chat because this is a live Q&A. So we're doing a little bit of a demo, but we definitely want to make sure we address all your questions and concerns and points. And if you have any ideas or any feedback or any feature requests, you definitely feel free to also drop it in the chat, and in the end of the stream, we'll show you where you can submit those features for real directly to the product team. So on Studio format streaming, so if you're not using OBS, or if you're like me who is intimidated by OBS software and always use Studio for your live show, there is now a way to stream in those two orientations directly from your browser tab. And Charles is going to show you how.
Scrolling vertical feeds is where streamers get discovered, and horizontal streams are where many communities thrive. Now you don't need to choose between them with horizontal and vertical multi-streaming in the Restream Studio. Sure, there are OBS plugins to stream both ratios at once. We've even built one, but the simplest workflow is now right inside the Restream Studio. Let's take a look. In any Restream Studio, you can select the orientation you need, or both. The canvas instantly splits into the vertical and horizontal previews, so you can see both outputs live. At the top, your channels are also split by orientation, where each destination can be assigned the portrait or landscape feed. When you hit Go Live, Restream sends exactly what you see on the canvas to all the enabled channels. Both views go out simultaneously with the same sound. Scenes, layouts and graphics react automatically to keep your stream looking perfect and uncluttered. Now, there are some considerations you'll need to take into account, like the framing of people on camera, and the size and position of your custom overlays. But the results speak for themselves. Your live video looks perfect on all screens and devices without any extra strain on your computer or connection, giving every viewer a brilliant experience. And that vertical feed will help new fans find you and grow your channel fast. Give it a go and let us know what you think. Cheers!
All right, so that was a quick guide on how this works. Again, just like all other videos that you see here, we'll upload this to YouTube today, and you will be able to come back to it and go through the steps if you are trying this out for the first time. This little scrappy picture is something that I took yesterday as I was testing dual streaming, dual format in studio yesterday, right before this event. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a look how this appears for you as a host. So you basically have this landscape orientation where you can see exactly what people who are going to see your horizontal stream are going to see. And then you have on the other side a little vertical version. This is super neat and helpful. It doesn't really make sense here because it's just me, but shortly after this little rant, we will show you how this will look for different layouts so you can actually see and preview if you are using some media, videos, images, maybe you have multiple guests, so how that would change your layout, but you always have that preview directly in your studio. Now, there are definitely a few questions that I'm already seeing that I will be taking, but before I get to questions, I definitely want to pass the microphone over to Mr. Alex. So yeah, if you want to add some things about studio, dual streaming and dual format, how you guys are working on it, and what are the core things that people should remember. Please take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Anya, for the intro of this feature. So from the product team of the dual output feature, or have we agreed to call it? I don't remember.
We didn't get enough people to say, like, that's another invitation for the chat.
Yeah.
Let us know, how do you refer to this thing? We like to call it dual format. I like to call it horizontal and vertical streaming. There's landscape and portrait, and there's also dual format streaming, dual output. What do you guys use to refer to this? Let us know in the chat. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, so yeah, I will refer to that as a dual output because it's how we called it internally with studio team. As we were developing OBS plugin, it was different name, but currently we stick to this name. So it's already one of the funny story about, or story behind the development part. Yeah, so I'm this something was in our radar for a while, and we put it in our roadmap for this year as a target goal for Q1, because the world is changed. How people like consume the content, it's not that way anymore as it was a few years ago. And with Restream, we see that like we also need to give this possibility for people. So before that, they need to choose one format. Is it vertical or horizontal? How they want to run their stream, or it's not possible to run these two setups in the same time. And some of the people were just doing the live twice. And currently with this new feature, you don't need to compromise which way you want to go live. You can just easily pick your channels in the horizontal format and in vertical. Just click go live, and the Restream Studio will do everything automatically. For the this feature will. Do we need to say about pricing right now, or it's like?
Yeah, go for it. Let's because there were some questions. For example, I'm just gonna highlight this one. We're just gonna transition into our Q&A, little Q&A slide. So there's this question right here, and it says, did you mention earlier that the Restream plugin is free? That is true. The Restream plugin, if you are choosing to use OBS, is free, so you can achieve dual format streaming within OBS for free. However, if you're using Studio, it is going to be required to have a professional plan. But Alex, I'll let you.
Correct.
I'll let you break this down a little more, because I know we're extending certain trials, and there are certain ways to test out the feature before, basically play before you pay.
This I want to share this news in the end of the live stream, but since you started this topic, we also ready to reveal this to our audience. So basically, this feature will be available under professional plan and higher. But we're so excited about this launch, we will be giving away some trials, so it will be possible to you just open the studio, click dual output, and you will be offered a 7-day trial of this feature. So you can like play with it and provide feedback and let us know what you think. If you're already in professional, you just open the studio, click the switcher, and it's much easier for you.
Yeah, lovely. We're going to take a few more questions about Studio dual output, but just to clarify,
Okay, so Anya, are you back?
Alex, I think you can take over. I think we lost Anya for just a little bit there, so feel free to take over.
Yes, Sergio, what is our next question in the list? Okay. How about scaling the video on vertical? Because for me, I stream live shows to the host on slightly on the right side and guest on the left side. So how will it show on portrait? I do use Restream Studio. This is a question from David. So what would happen based on the layout of your horizontal stream, we will automatically adopt this to your viewers. So basically, you don't need to think how it will look or customize, especially the portrait mode. It will be just working automatically. So you can always see it on the preview and in Studio. If you don't like how is your guest positioning, you can easily switch to different layout, which is like works best for you in that situation. Because it depends, like, do you plan to share in media or just it's your guests? So.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. And I'm back, by the way. I hope you can hear me.
I think, Alex, we can then show maybe like a screenshot that you took exactly for that purpose. Because right now we have a similar setup where, you know, I'm on one side, you're on the other, and how that sort of cascades into the vertical view. So we can also show that, I think.
Yes. So let me just switch to the scene really quickly. So yeah, hello everyone.
This is from earlier today, clearly.
Yeah, from earlier today. We were like playing with that right before our live streaming. So as you can see in the showtime layout, it's not showtime, it's contain. We have one position, but like for the portrait, we will automatically reposition all the sources, and it will be like suitable for the portrait view really easy. So you don't need to think about that. You always can see that. If you don't like how like people are aligned, you can switch layout to something else.
And you can also like drag and drop, right? So for example, in this image, you could like drop me and you in the position, and you could do that both in the portrait or in the landscape, and it automatically applies to the other.
Yeah, so currently, if you're talking about like product perspective, we're trying to make these decisions to like make your life easier. So we didn't bring the customization to the portrait mode yet, because we don't know if it's like needed. We were trying like to do it by our assumptions and product assumptions, engineering assumptions, like to make life easier for you. But if you need customization for portrait mode, just let us know. We would be happy to learn about your feedback, your use case, and yeah.
Love it. Really good stuff. There is an interesting question. Let me come back to our little Q&A session here, even though this is super helpful, that little visual. There's a question about audio-only live streams. Could those be streamed in both vertical and horizontal? I believe they can, but Alex, you probably know better.
Yeah, of course they can. So it doesn't matter. So it's the same. If you like it, if I know that some people in their audio-only streams use avatars like this one. Some of the people just decided like to hide everything from the scene and like stream the animated background. So yes, it will be adjusted in the same way as we described before.
Yeah, and that was our little demonstration of audio-only live stream being live on all
I got stuck.
platforms.
I'm not so fast by clicking the buttons, but imagine.
No worries.
You can do now, Matt. So.
This next question is actually a nice segue. Is this platform podcast friendly, and will you push a little more for podcasters? I love this. I love this question, actually, because we are adding a lot of features that are supporting podcasters and both video podcasts as well as audio only podcasts. So streaming without your video, basically with your avatar only, the same thing that we just demonstrated by basically hiding our cameras. You were just like totally doing it like async.
I was just trying to make that circle move, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's all turn off our cameras just for the podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting mode.
Yeah, so this is our podcasting mode. It looks pretty cool, I think. The background is basically taken from your avatar. So I'm a little pinkier because of my background, and Alex is more blue. So that is really, really fun. Of course, we have other features other than just hiding yourself from the video that are supported for podcasting. And as I can see in our private chat, the reminder of local recordings. So one of the features that we released recently allows you to record yourself and your guests locally on their own devices. And then seamlessly behind the scenes while you are hosting your show, we are uploading that content directly to your Restream storage, from which you can download those local recordings, and you will get this audio and video in the best quality possible from all your remote guests, and then you can repurpose that into either videos if you're planning to add that, or into podcasts. So Matt was one of the leads on this one, so feel free to chime in and add on for this. But I do think that this is a real game changer for podcasters, and it was definitely a breakthrough for our own internal post-production and editing team.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, there's a new question right now. I think, could you reiterate the previous one, because I'm a little...
Yeah, the question was on podcasting. How do we support the podcasters, and like how Restream features are helpful for podcasting community?
Right.
And we mentioned that we have... that we have audio avatars that are helping you to basically focus on audio content versus video, and you don't have to invest in cameras and everything that shows you on camera. And we also have local recordings that really elevate the level of your quality for both sound and video.
And for the local recordings, I would just add that you can have them in both video and audio mode, or audio only. So in this case, if you want to save some of your bandwidth and you are just streaming with audio only, and you leverage local recordings, feel free to switch to the audio only mode. And then when your stream ends, we will provide you with a set of local recordings from all of your sources in the WAV format, specifically for audio. Essentially, we get also lots of podcasters that also use video. So local recordings would come in much higher quality than the typical cloud recording. So if you're into post-production and you need to further edit your stream in the highest quality possible, definitely check out our local recordings.
Great little feature plug. So I love this question. It's actually about a feature that is coming soon, but I still love it because we actually mentioned that this is going to be happening earlier this year, that this is planned basically it's on Restream roadmap already. Restream Studio currently does not support some features such as browser source, which is supported in OBS. And when this will be fully supported, then it would make sense for, I'm not going to try to read your name, but Moalaeg. It would make sense for them to switch to Studio for dual streaming. That is true if you are using browser source. OBS and plugin will probably be the best way for you to stream in horizontal and vertical as of today, but browser source is coming to Studio. That's something that we're actively working on. So stay tuned for that one, for sure. There's another question. I know we already took this one earlier about streaming on guest channels. But since it's been about 20 minutes since then, let's just take this one more time. If you are streaming in landscape and vertical at the same time, will your guests connecting their channels be able to do the dual output as well? As far as I know, not right now, but soon?
Not right now, but it's in our list. So if you need this feature, go to the ideas Restream.io and upvote that. We will have more visibility and more motivation to do that
faster.
Exactly.
That is actually a wonderful opportunity to plug this in. Ideas.restream.io is where we look every single day. Both marketing and product teams and support teams are checking this daily. We're looking at features that you guys submit as ideas, something that you're looking to have to improve the quality of your streams, as well as upvoting things that were submitted by others. So think about it, it's like kind of like Product Hunt or like just reviews where you can actually upvote certain things that other people already requested. And that definitely affects our roadmap and what we prioritize and how we prioritize it. So if that's something that you're really passionate about, if the feature is really going to make your life easier and better, make sure to upvote it or submit it on ideas@restream.io. We look there all the time. Good stuff. Let's see if there's any other questions here. So a little clarification from Boss Bunny. Just to clarify, if I use Restream now for dual stream, can I still use this feature on both platforms? Or do I have to choose one feature, dual or free, for this? I'm curious if this is a question about YouTube Dual in particular, because that's something that we can definitely cover in just a second, because we're going to show you how to stream simultaneously in horizontal and vertical on the same YouTube channel. So let us know if that's what you're asking. If not, if you're asking, can you use OBS plugin method and Studio dual streaming method, then the answer is absolutely yes. The only difference between them is that you need a professional plan to stream in horizontal and vertical from Studio, and OBS plugin is free. However, if you're a beginner streamer, or if Studio or web browser based streaming is just your jam, like it is for me, then definitely Studio would probably be your easiest starting point for going live on horizontal and vertical. There was one question about TikTok. Can I go live on TikTok in vertical? Clearly, here, if I'm using Studio without necessarily using the TikTok Live Studio. Yes, you can. I just double checked with our producers, and if you go to TikTok and find Restream.io in one word, that is our channel on TikTok, and this stream is live there right now in vertical. There are some limitations in terms of what kind of creators TikTok allows to multi-stream through third-party applications like Restream. They are heavily prioritizing gaming content, so you might need to go through a few approval processes in order to obtain that opportunity to stream from Restream to TikTok. But if you do, we definitely encourage you to apply and try it. In terms of the technology, we definitely support that, and we are live on TikTok right now. So you can totally achieve that. Very good stuff. So I do see a lot of other questions. We can definitely come back to some of them, but I definitely want to make sure that we showcase how to multi-stream on the same YouTube channel, because that's a big question that a lot of our creators have. So what if you have the same YouTube channel, that's your major destination, your major platform, and you want to appear in those vertical feeds and also look really good in horizontal for those folks who are watching you on monitors or big screens? We do support that right now, and Charles is going to show you how exactly that is going to work for you.
Restream now lets you go live in both vertical and horizontal on the same YouTube channel at the same time. This is very cool. This is how to dual stream on YouTube. To do this, YouTube creates 2 separate live events, but by going through Restream, all the chat stays together so you can see messages from both streams in one place. Let's look at the easiest and my preferred way of doing it first, the Restream Studio. Then we'll also do it in OBS. Alright, inside the studio, head to the orientation selector down here and choose Landscape and Portrait. Click to edit channels at the top, and on your YouTube destination, you'll see the option to choose both horizontal and vertical. Now all you have to do is simply hit Go Live. As I've said, while you're live, you'll get all the chat in one place over here, and your guests, layouts, captions, and chat overlays will all adjust automatically to look great on both formats. But do be aware of how anything you import, like overlays, might look. Alright, let's head over to OBS to do this from there. First, make sure you've updated OBS and installed Restream's free vertical plugin. Now, make sure that you're signed into your Restream account, and in your channels doc, you'll find your YouTube channel where you can hit edit and set the orientation to both landscape and portrait. Now here's a cool thing. Unlike in the studio, which crops the center of your camera, you can move the vertical frame wherever you want and design it completely independently. Now, simply go live, and whatever is in your vertical and horizontal program screens will go live with the same audio. And all the chat, of course, will be here in the chat window. There it is, one setup, 2 formats for more visibility in the vertical feeds and longer watch times, and of course with all your chat in one place. We're continually improving features and we love your input, so give it a go and let us know what you think. Cheers.
Good stuff. We have a lot of questions about YouTube Dual, so I think I will let Matt just chime in if there's anything that you would like to add about this before we take a few questions. There are a lot of questions about like how the channel limitations are going to be counted when you're streaming to the same YouTube but with different orientations, and a few questions about like, of course, layouts and stuff like that. But I'll just let you add anything that you think we missed in the video guide, and then we'll get into the questions.
All right, so I'll try to separate it into 2 parts, one about the layouts and then one about the pricing. So it was actually in December when Anya and I went to a YouTube LiveCon conference, and this is where they were basically introducing dual output to partners of YouTube, such as Restream, and it's evidence that YouTube is very much stepping into mobile streaming and sort of the vertical format streaming as well. So what they have natively, and I think this is very important to call out because then it kind of shows how Restream compares to that and how Restream supports that. So what YouTube supports natively is that basically if you are eligible for the dual output on YouTube, so just streaming with YouTube on YouTube, some people already have the ability to enable what they call dual output or 2 orientations for their live events. What this does is that basically it sends out the horizontal video and then it crops it in the middle for mobile viewers. YouTube as a platform then delivers the content to people watching on mobile and people watching on desktop in appropriate aspect ratio. But you as the host, really, you kind of see all of the chat together and you have just one event link where you would manage all of your analytics and all of your chat, etc. Now, this is already pretty powerful, and it was actually working out of the box for the people who had access to it on YouTube with Restream. So if they were streaming, I'm talking about December 2025. So at the time, if you were streaming with YouTube, and you had this functionality to enable it on YouTube events, YouTube would actually deliver 2 types of aspect ratios natively. However, you probably noticed that I mentioned that YouTube would crop out the middle part, which, if your camera is slightly like this, oftentimes it might not look the best. So we thought about the customization aspect a lot. How do you design the stream for 2 different platforms, one for desktop and one for mobile? And this is really like where both our studio approach or the Restream vertical approach shine, because they allow you to really design how it's going to look like there. So it's not just like we would crop out the stream. You probably saw Alex demoing like how the layout nicely cascades from landscape into vertical when it comes to Restream Studio. And Charles just showed us in OBS vertical plugin how you can even reposition and pan and then sort of crop the camera scene in there. So with Restream dual output, you get designed layout on mobile destinations and on landscape destinations. So that's the layout aspect of it. Now, when it comes to how it works on YouTube and how it works in terms of pricing, so when I think the best way to explain it is, for example, with X and YouTube, right? So if we sent out one stream in vertical and landscape, one to X and one to YouTube, it's essentially 2 channels, right? Each in different orientation. Now with the YouTube dual output that you saw Charles enable inside Restream, we can do that just for YouTube. So we can send out 2 orientations directly to YouTube. On YouTube, it will end up as 2 different events that have 2 different links. That means 2 different chats and sets of analytics. However, if you're streaming with a multi-streaming platform like Restream, we aggregate everything. So you have the full visibility into the chat, into the analytics, wherever it comes from. And it probably might please you that we are not charging extra for using dual output in YouTube. So it's just counted as 1 channel against your pricing plan, sort of. Thank you, Anya, for this chart. I think it sort of really drills down what I was trying to allude to. So on YouTube, if you go live with YouTube on YouTube, and that's it, you have access to their dual output, which, by the way, is still very much limited as they're rolling it out. You have everything in one event, one URL. The chat is on YouTube in one place, but the layout of your stream will be cropped. It's not very much customizable for now, and it doesn't adapt, for guests as well. So if you have a guest like on your left side and you're on the right, it would sort of crop out the stream in the middle, which wouldn't look the best. I think we had a question like that from the chat about Studio, how to sort of do this kind of layout and position it like this. And then on the right side, you can see how it works with Restream. So for YouTube, that would be 2 separate destinations with 2 separate links. You still manage it from one place inside Restream. So just go to your YouTube channel as usual and select landscape and portrait together. Unified chat works kind of out of the box because we unify chat not just in this case, but also across various platforms, right? So if it's messages from X or LinkedIn or YouTube, they would all come into one place, and then you can showcase them. And I mentioned that you can design it very much completely freely in the OBS plugin, and in Studio it kind of is designed for you, so it's all automatic. Alex mentioned that if you want further customizations, just go to ideas.restream.io and let us know how and why you would like to customize your vertical stream. And lastly, you saw that in Restream Studio, the guests and media automatically adjust, right? So you don't get any of that unwanted cropping, but it's all automatic. Yeah, this is exactly what I was trying to talk about. So I hope that answers some of it, and now maybe we can drill it down, like, question by question, if maybe we need to reiterate.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to take questions directly from our chat. Let me actually take us into this orientation real quick. And yes, there are a few questions. Some of them you already covered, but I just definitely want to make sure that we are taking those questions. And one thing I just noticed, I was looking at our viewer counter, and I see that there are 2 Restream YouTube channels, right? And I have the viewers from both of them. So that's really cool to see that the viewer count is coming live from 2 orientations, from 2 of those events. So just noticed that and wanted to point that out. It's really cool in studio. Questions about pretty much everything at this point, and feel free to add a little more so we can cover whatever you need. How to schedule a live video to stream on YouTube at the same time in 2 different orientations. So you basically schedule the same way you would schedule your regular stream. It's
Absolutely.
you only need to make sure you pick that orientation. But yeah, go ahead.
Exactly like that. So nothing really changes. Just make sure the orientation is set to dual. So that means landscape plus portrait at the same time. Now, if you're wondering how those events will look like, so basically both the portrait and the landscape event will take the same title, the same description, the same thumbnail. They will look pretty much identical. If you update the event on the Restream side, both events, if you will, both orientations will inherit the changes. So it's basically looks identical. However, it will be 2 separate links. So we need to stress that if you're choosing this method, you will have 1 event for mobile and 1 event for landscape.
Lovely. I think at this point, I'm just going to take all the questions one by one. So we run through everything that we have left in the chat, because we don't have a lot of other materials. So Matt and Alex, feel free to jump in whenever you feel like this is the question for you. And I'm just going to serve you everything that we have left. And that would be our wrap. So there is a question about encoder H245. Is there any hope that Restream would support that encoder? Is that something that we... that's definitely a little bit not
that's a codec as far as I know, and I believe one second. Yeah, so this is a new codec. I think YouTube plans to support it if they don't already, but currently we recommend to use the H264 codec when streaming to YouTube. If you need to use a new codec, please keep an eye out both on what YouTube supports, and then as we update our guidelines, once we start supporting it, we will definitely update it there. But for now, we basically recommend a video codec H264, and for audio, it's AAC or MP3.
Yeah, awesome. And we have 1 point from our co-producer Sergio. If you want to use specifically this codec, you need to use to stream with SRT. So streaming with SRT already available. You just go to Restream and connect your SRT channel, and or it's input and output, I mean. Yeah, you can stream with this codec. Thank you, Sergio, so much for helping answering this super technical question.
No,
exactly.
It's lovely. So, that's the beauty of having co-producers and technical team. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Our encoder streaming currently supports RTMP, RTMPS, SRT, WIP, and HLS. So all sorts of protocols. And if you know how to stream with SRT, then it should pass the correct codec that is H245. So in that case, it should work.
Yes, absolutely. Danger Zone. Will YouTube keep it as 2 streams or merge it together afterwards? I do believe that the dual streaming through Restream that creates those two separate URLs for live will continue keeping them as two separate URLs for replay. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. But like we also hope that in future it could be like possible to have like one only event, and all third-party tools will be like Restream will be able to do it in one event. But currently, unfortunately, it's not available with the YouTube API.
Right.
And I think YouTube mentioned it on the LiveCon that once they start like supporting eRTMP through their API, then it would be possible to stream to one event. So both orientation, one event, everything gets merged.
So that's coming soon. If you want to see this in action right now, Restream is live on YouTube, Restream's official YouTube channel in both orientations. So if you are looking, if you're watching the stream on your desktop, you can also get your mobile phone and simply search for Restream YouTube and see how the vertical feed is looking there. You can also go to YouTube channel in your browser and just find from the YouTube channel perspective, not necessarily like watching the specific URL, just see how they appear there. I was testing that yesterday, and you can see both of those events going live kind of like in parallel simultaneously. So you can actually see it for yourself to make sure you envision very clearly how this is going to look for your viewers. So yeah, two different URLs, and then afterwards two different events. Will there be any documentation to check out after the stream is over? So if you mean like guides and tutorials, our Restream Help Center is already up to date on dual output. You can check out for some information there, and we will also be adding all the videos that you saw today to YouTube as separate uploads. So definitely check them out if you didn't have a chance to watch them live. There is a question, I guess a little bit of love for our custom overlay. You guys, thank you so much for dropping the chat overlay customization options. Quietly dropped. I don't know how quietly, but I remember going live about this with Charles just a week ago. So to me, it sounded pretty loud, but yes, the chat customization is there. However, there are certain limitations on the portrait, especially if you are using Studio. Alex, do you want to comment on that real quick? On the chat overlay in Studio, if you are doing the dual.
So currently in Portrait, you don't have like any customization options. There's like something I mentioned in the beginning. So if you need them, just let us know what kind of customization do you want and what is your use case. We would be happy to consider this feedback and improve our product.
Yep, a lovely thing. So it's coming. It's coming. We're working on it proactively. Good question about from YouTube as well. Portrait may not show all the cams if you have more than 3, at least showing them at a decent size on mobile. Would be nice to have cams swapped out, highlighted on landscape, depending on who is chatting. So I think it's an interesting kind of combination of a request for highlighting active speaker, which is a feature that a lot of our creators requested, and I would love to have it as well, because currently we are kind of manually, with the help of our co-producers or ourselves, trying to rearrange the layout depending on who is speaking, who we want to highlight. It is a very valid point that if you have a lot of guests, some of them might not fit on the vertical screen. That is true for both, of course, OBS and Studio, but primarily in Studio because you have in the horizontal, you have all this, boxes with different people, but on mobile, on vertical, you have a little bit less space. We tested it today with up to 4 different cameras, or 4 people and 3 people and 1 media, like when Charles was showing us his guides. So 4 people fit just fine. Alex, you probably know a little better about what happens when we have 6 or maybe even 10 panelists. How does that look?
When we have more people, we hide the video. So because there is not much space in the portrait mode, and we can't like make them other sources even smaller. If we make everything smaller, it will look bad. So that's why we take a decision to hide some cameras, but like still audio, we keep producing the audio from these sources which we are hiding.
Yes, good stuff. Question from Nick. If someone joins my live, will YouTube show both vertical and horizontal in YouTube feeds, or just one or the other? So if they're joining you, basically coming to your YouTube channel, they will be seeing 2 different streams on your YouTube channel, and they can choose which one they want to watch. Does that sound right, Matt?
If they come directly to the channel, correct?
Yeah, correct.
If they're watching, on the feed, it's very much up to YouTube how they serve the content. But if people find you through your channel, then yeah, you would basically have 2 events streaming at the same time, and that they can choose whether they rather watch vertical on mobile or landscape on desktop.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, yeah, the vertical feeds, which is a major benefit of going live vertically, is where YouTube will serve your stream to potential new fans and new audiences. So it's just going to be served based on the algorithms, which obviously YouTube controls completely. However, if someone is specifically looking for your stream on your YouTube channel, yes, they will see both, and they can choose based on their device which one they should join. And they can click on both and basically look at which orientation works better on their specific screen. This is what I tested yesterday. It was pretty clear like which one to click on. The vertical one did have like a little bit of bars in the preview thumbnail, so I was like, okay, this is probably vertical. And once I clicked on it, it was basically fitting nicely on my phone screen. So it shouldn't be too hard for your viewers. Another interesting thing would be if you're pre-promoting your stream and if you're asking people to subscribe, to basically notify me like we do with this event, right? Like we schedule this event and then people ask to be notified. I do believe that they will be basically asking to be notified about the horizontal event. But then with your voice, you can always guide them to the vertical version if you happen to run both at the same time. So that's something that we're also figuring out.
Chat,
yeah.
Right.
Or you can drop a link in chat. Yeah, absolutely. And be like, oh, hey, if you're watching on your mobile, you can actually hop off this stream and go into the other. And in Studio, you will see the live viewers from both, just like I mentioned earlier. I was looking at that right now, and they are nicely shown to you from, basically it's the same channel, it says YouTube Restream, but it shows you like a little breakdown between the people. I do think that we should, in that view, indicate which one is vertical.
So I already noted as a feedback, so I took this screenshot. So it will be improved.
Yeah, absolutely. Question also from Nick about starting a TikTok stream while midstream. So I think the challenge here is that so there's some music that's being played in the beginning that might be copyrighted, but then eventually the stream starts, and so basically like a midstream starting. That's a good question in general. I believe you can start midstream, right? Whatever channel you want to initiate, including TikTok. Can you do that in vertical as well? If you're streaming in both horizontal and vertical?
Yeah, so if I can take this one. So if you are like in dual output mode, and if you are, for example, streaming landscape to YouTube, but you don't have any like portrait channels, and midstream you decided to add like portrait, yeah, that's fine. Only one item you need to make sure, once you added like a channel in one of the orientation, you can't like change the orientation of the channel. So basically, yes, it's possible, but you need to make sure that you are adding this specific channel in the right orientation, and you will be just fine.
Good stuff. This one is also a nice mixture of a feature request and question. I really like this because it makes perfect sense for me. Maybe in the future, you can add a way to show screen share, to basically separate showing screen share between portrait and horizontal, because sometimes if you are streaming in landscape, it makes sense to show something on screen, screen share, but in portrait mode, because it's going to be basically from the life of ants, right? Like it's going to be very tiny text. It might not make sense to basically push the screen share on portrait. Would it be possible eventually to separate that source between the two orientation? I love that. I would totally use it. What do you guys think?
So this is like a question about customization. So it's like definitely this is very helpful feedback, and this is what we are looking for to understand like people use cases and like how we can improve the portrait mode and with the next iterations in the dual output. So currently it's not possible, but we can build it in future because it's like a very valuable item. As I mentioned before, you have a tiny screen and you can't put like big screen sharing there, obviously, because you will see some tiny like details. You can't see them basically. So very valuable feedback. We will consider that while we will be improving the portrait mode.
Thank you for that. Coming back to the question of how the channels are being counted, I know we already covered that earlier, but just for those who are joining last minute or right now, will YouTube short vertical count and YouTube horizontal count as two separate channels? For example, if you have a 5-channel limit on the professional plan. So no, it won't, but I'll let you guys say it with your own words.
You
No,
said
it
right.
won't.
No, it
No, it
won't.
won't.
No, it won't.
No, it won't. No, it won't. It is going to be the same
one.
channel. Yeah, it's going to be the
just one.
same one channel. So if you have 5 channels limit and you are streaming vertical and horizontal on one YouTube, it's going to be counted as one channel. If you're adding more YouTubes, those will be taking additional slots. However, again, if multiple of those YouTube channels are going to be dual outputting, they again will be only counted as one channel. It's actually interesting because we're doing that at this exact moment. We are streaming live on Restream channel and my own personal YouTube, and both of them
in dual,
are
right?
in
Yeah,
dual.
so
Yes, so they
like
counted as 2 channels, even though there are 4 events going on.
I always find that like super fascinating because that's the true power of Restream, where you get that scale. So from one YouTube channel or 2 in this case, you suddenly get 4 streams, in 2 aspect ratios. And the more channels you use, or even with paired channels, like that scale just grows so much. And still you can just manage it as one stream. I think Alex mentioned in the past that some people used to stream once a horizontal event and once a vertical event. And that must have been so hard, just like do this thing twice, say the same thing twice. So now you can just do it once, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love that. This is really cool. So there's another question on customization. I think I would like to take it. It's from Danger Zone, and I'm going to do a little demonstration. When you customize the webcam boxes, which are our basically video camera feeds, to be square instead of rectangle, can we have the ability to show 3 people across instead of 2 on top and 1 under? So that's basically what we have right now. It does depend on your layout. So for example, if we were to go to this guy right here, there is some limitation on the vertical feed. Like I can see that Alex is entirely covered by this comment. But in this case, we are basically in a different orientation. We also can use this one. In this case, we have basically, and again, like we can customize this slightly in terms of like how the radius is going to look and how we can adjust the size of this box. That is also transitioning. And then there's this guy where we started, kind of. But I think the question is like, can we? Oh, here we go, circles. Oh, the circles did not transition to our portrait orientation. That I believe is coming soon. Is that right, Alex? Because
Yes,
we had circles. Yeah.
Yeah. Customization is another story.
Customization is another story. There is a question about recordings. I know we covered that slightly, but just to reiterate the point, do vertical local recordings also happen when dual streaming, or we only record the horizontal version?
So actually, it's more complicated than that, because local recordings are recording your sources, and your sources are just as they are in the original aspect ratio and the original, resolution and quality. If Restream crops them using some layout functionality and so on, it doesn't affect your local recordings. So local recordings work always the same because they're sort of split tracks for video and audio in the original quality that you would sort of have them. Then when it comes to the cloud recording, which is basically the design stream, which is what you're seeing right now, us designed in this particular layout with the background behind us and so on, that is an automatic cloud recording. Right now we are streaming at full HD, so that cloud recording would be at full HD. And we would have one for landscape and one for portrait. So everything is recorded in both aspect ratios, and local recordings come as they were before.
There are a few questions about aggregated chat. There is one kind of like longer question from David from Facebook. Is it possible to have one unified chat where all comments from all platforms, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, are coming and displayed together? We're looking for a single combined feed where we can monitor and interact with all the viewers in one place. And a similar question, does your chat aggregator, when you're using Restream plugin for dual streaming, will include TikTok? I'm just going to comment on TikTok real quick, but for the other things, so it's kind of like complicated question. On the TikTok side of things, it does depend on TikTok API, and currently TikTok does not share API for their comments, which means that we would love to support that, but we cannot pull these comments out because TikTok is not sharing that with us. However, our chat aggregator does bring in comments from all other platforms that are supporting chat API, which includes Facebook and includes YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. So when it comes to, and also it includes dual streams on YouTube. So your vertical and your horizontal comments are going to be coming together in the same aggregated chat. Instagram, TikTok do not support chats right now. So you'll have to either use separate tabs or TikTok Monitor to look at those comments and respond to them. It's not ideal, but right now this is the API limitation. So I hope this is, I hope that makes sense. And other than that, I'm going to take a few more questions before we are going to be wrapping up. There is an evergreen question about Restream app coming to on mobile phones for people who are streaming in IRL. I'll let you guys take it because we have a lot of product folks here, so you guys can shed some light on that.
Really good question, very hard question, because every time we plan something for Restream, when we're planning roadmaps, we raise this question every time. But unfortunately, we don't have in upcoming quarters planned this feature. So short answer is that we don't have plans, and I can't share any ATA on that feature or product at this moment. So.
And it is not a trivial task to build a good and reliable live streaming app for such a tiny device as your phone. So that's the main reason why we are not actively working on this right now. But it's always good to hear your feedback. And again, continue to upload this idea in our ideas.restream.io. Question if it's better to stream from OBS to Restream or direct RTMP. Of course, it is better to go live from OBS to Restream, because from Restream, you can stream your content in multiple orientations and up to 30 platforms at the same time while aggregating chat. So whatever you're doing, if the question is it better to stream through Restream or not Restream, the answer is always going to be it's better to go through Restream, because you get more reach, more engagement, and more places where people can find your channel and hear your story. The rest of the questions are going to be just some Restream love. Well, actually, I'll take this from Facebook. This is one more question about the layouts. We're using Studio in images. They would like to be able to move around images so they can basically be in the middle of screen or anywhere else. Custom layouts allow you certain ways to move and to kind of orient and navigate your visuals. So just like we were showing earlier, I'm just going to use this as an example. This image here, depending on different looks, and let me swap this with Matt real quick. There are different ways how you can display that image. You can also do something along these lines when you show the image and people are showing on the different sides. And there's some customizations that you can also do for images. But yes, images are not currently in complete free move. There is one of the layouts that allows you to free move your image, but there are still certain limitations. We are working on making this experience even better. Is that right, Alex?
Yeah, that's true. So it's something on our roadmap for this year to make everything with the free move, because currently we know that we have some limitation, and sometimes this limitation could kill your creativity. But we are trying to be, we are trying to be safe, in terms of your live stream should look good and pretty with all this customization which we currently have. So we are working on that, more to come this year, but currently it's not possible to do this free move with images.
Love it. This is exciting. All right. So to finalize this final Q&A, I am going to just show a little bit of our Restream love here. We got a lot of really wonderful comments, and I'm just going to share them one by one. Danger Zone says, thank you guys. There is cheers to your all. Actually, let me hide this little ask your questions because we will not be taking any more questions as of today. For this specific topic, but we are so grateful for everyone to show up and for sharing your questions, your thoughts, your feature feedback, your requests. It's super, super important for us, especially when we're launching new features like this. Cheers to you all. Thanks for answering my question. We love using Restream. That is music to our ears. It's going to be a fun week of testing with all this new stuff, says Ivan Music Man. That's lovely. This is great news. You guys have just sold me on another year. that one is definitely, that's a home run right there. Thank you so much. Pretty nice. That's dope. Thank you so much. And really cool. This is really great to hear this, guys, because we've been working on this feature for a long time, and I love hearing that this lens, and that is something that you guys have been looking for. So definitely give it a run, test it, play with it, and super excited for testing right now. I like Restream. We'll go live happy with it. Chat overlay. Coming back from previous week, definitely a winner right there as well. Fire, this is amazing. Love Restream platform. That's Alex Box. That's a good one for you. I'll let you take this one while I'm sharing some more love. Do you box?
No.
Okay.
Do you wanna?
Do you want to box?
Yeah.
It's an invitation.
Maybe when I retire, so maybe I will consider the option once I retire. So
This is lovely. Just one more time real quick. Alex, do you want to reiterate the point of how people can test this feature? We are going to be opening it up as a trial for folks in the nearest time. Can you break down how that would work and where people can find it?
Yeah, so it will be just easy. You open the Restream Studio, you'll find a red dot next to the dual output switcher. Basically, we already have this feature, but currently you can just switch between portrait and landscape, or horizontal and vertical. But we added there like the third option in the bottom right corner of your studio. So once you click that, you will see the new option, dual output. You click on that and we will ask you to test this feature. So in terms, and it will be much easier to you. Just click one button. You can play with the channels. So it's easy to set up channels. You just open the model window with the channels and choose which orientation do you want to set. Go live and you are live on all your channels with the orientation you choose.
And if you get lost, be sure to reach out to our 24/7 support with real humans right there for you, and they will guide you to the right place and help you out. Definitely, if you're watching this live stream and you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to them as well. They will be happy to show you around. And we are immensely grateful for all your questions and all your time. Thank you for hanging out with us for almost an hour and a half by now. So we're super thankful. Big shout out to our co-producers today. We had Sergio and Becca. I don't know if you guys want to show up and say hi, but I can see how we we might be like, ooh, not necessarily straining the little vertical limited space place. But thank you so much for helping us out to moderate the chat, to watch out for the streams. Big thanks to Grant, our moderator in YouTube chat today. He was answering and taking questions that folks were asking that we just physically did not have time to take live and online. Thank you, Charles. He's not with us today, but he created a bunch of great content and video guides for you, which we will be uploading shortly after the stream. And thank you for all creators who trust Restream and choose us to go live every day, whether you're doing OBS or Studio, trying vertical and horizontal at the same time, or just sticking with with the ways that you used to stream before. We are super, super grateful for all of you and cannot thank you enough. We'll see you next week. Some hearts for you, and yeah, see you later.